Hello. Hey friends, I know I look a little crazy right now. Let me make sure I can get everyone on here. Okay, and then we're going to add Instagram. My Facebook was disconnected for a second there, so I had to get that going. And now we've got Instagram to get going. How are you all? Let me know how you're doing. Let me get my thing from Instagram real quick. So today we're going to be talking about 3 surprising hacks to stop overeating or binge eating or whatever for good. That's what we're going to talk about today. As soon as I get Instagram on. Okay, and yes, I look like a mess because I just got out of kickboxing class and I didn't have time to take a shower ahead of time, so I will take one afterwards. Why can't I get Instagram going? What's going on? Hey everybody, let me know where you're watching from in the comment section. And also, it must be about lunchtime for many of you, or past lunchtime. What did you have? Okay, here comes Instagram. There we go. Hello, Instagram. Welcome. I'm going to move you guys to the right, and then I'm going to move the rest of you to the left. There we go. Hey, how's it going? Okay. Yes, I am a mess today. I just got out of kickboxing, didn't have time to take a shower. That's okay. I hope you're doing well. Hey there, Envy Strong. Good to see you on Instagram over there. Only one person on the other channels at this point, which is cool. Take your time. Let me just make sure everything's hooked up right. Yep, that looks good. Okay, so today what we're going to be talking about is 3 surprising hacks to end overeating. It's going to be stuff that you didn't really, maybe didn't make, wouldn't make sense at first. It'll sound a little counterintuitive, and I'm going to go through it. So I'm going to put that title here in the comment section. 3 surprising hacks to stop binge eating or overeating for good. All right. So let me know where you guys are watching from in the comment section. Let me know what you're having for lunch, that kind of thing. How you doing? I'm going to jump right into it. So the reason that I'm actually doing this particular topic today is because I'm brainstorming a new, oh, hey, Susan, yay. Susan's here from the family. Good to see you. Made it to alive. Yay. So I'm brainstorming a new PDF that I'm creating for folks, and it's going to talk about this. Now, I have a list of there's many more, but there's at least 8 to 10 surprising, counterintuitive things that I talk about a lot. And actually, I think they are the key to ending overeating, these things, because from my perspective, having done this for many years and coached so many people, hundreds of people, thousands of people on my challenges and YouTube channel, but then hundreds of clients privately and in group form. Having had so much success with helping people end this type of overeating and emotional eating and things like that, there's some things that I know to be true. And the biggest thing is that society nowadays, and the way that we're taught about how to lose weight or how to stop overeating or whatever, it's all, for lack of a better term, wrong. It's all based on apps and point systems and accountability and all that. And I'm going to explain why none of that stuff is actually true today. Okay, so what I'm going to go through today is 3 surprising hacks or ways that you can end overeating. So I'm going to start with the first one here, and I actually wrote them on the board. So we'll go through them in order. Junk food, number 1, is not the problem. Okay, and I'm going to tell you what is. Number 2 is to stop counting things. I'll tell you what to do instead. And number 3 is, instead of saying I can't or I shouldn't have that food, start saying I can instead. All right, that all sounds kind of counterintuitive to what you hear nowadays, but just stick with me and I'll explain it to you. So the first one we're going to start with is junk food is not the problem. Okay, but what is the problem? So I hear this a lot, and let me know if you hear this too, or if you hear it in your own brain too. The idea that sugar is so addictive, junk food is so addictive. These things are so addictive. How can we possibly get out from under them if they're so addictive? And you hear left and right, you're a food addict, you're, disempowered, you can't do this, you're not going to be able to do it long term. I can do it for a little while, but I can't stop. So what's interesting here is that we're told that junk food is the problem and it's kind of a losing battle, but that's actually not the problem. What is the problem? The problem is right up here. Now, it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. That's not what I'm saying. The problem is that you're thinking there is something wrong with you. I'm trying to find a different color here. It fell down. There it is. So sorry guys, this is a little messy, but the problem is that we're actually thinking the junk food is the problem, when the true problem is inside of our brain. It's just our thoughts. Okay, now most people think that the problem inside of our brain is that we're a food addict, right? They think, oh, I'm addicted to the food. I can't stop eating it. There's something wrong with me, or my metabolism is broken, blah, 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 blah. All these different things as to why someone can't do this. It is literally thinking those things that's making us be not successful. Okay, so junk food is not the problem. Now, yes, I'm going to say those types of foods that we consider addictive nowadays, like sugar or flour, salt products with oil, blah, 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 those things, they make it a little tougher to get over this, but it doesn't actually matter. We can still get through this, and we can get to our goals and we can stay there permanently. And what we can really do, the true key to being able to be consistent with food forever, healthy food and weight and things like that, is to actually remove drama in your head. What do I mean by that? Food noise, right? Everyone is talking nowadays about food noise. And what do we mean when we say food noise? We're talking about that little brain inside your head, that little voice inside your head that tells you to eat more food, right? Like, oh, we have to have the pizza, or oh, I'm so tired, I can't possibly, blah, blah, blah. All those little thoughts. And when we start craving something, we get so cravey, and then the thoughts are so crazy, and we can't make good decisions, and all of a sudden we just eat the food, or we're just too tired and we don't care. That's food noise. That's what everyone is referring to when they say food noise. So when they talk about taking Ozempic or taking these, semaglutide products or GLP-1 activators and things like this, the benefit to using these drugs is that they actually do reduce the food noise. That's the whole way that they work. I don't know how exactly, but somehow they make it so that you don't have as much crazy thoughts in your head about food. So they reduce that food noise. Now, what I'm saying is that the food noise is the problem, not the junk food. And yes, the junk food makes it a little worse, but it doesn't mean it's not, penetrable. It doesn't mean it's not something we can fix, because we still can. But it's the reason everyone is taking those drugs is because when our food noise is lowered, we can actually lose weight quite easily because we're not obsessing about food anymore. What I'm telling you is that we can fix this naturally. We can fix it naturally, okay? And so the solution to this is actually working with your own brain, working with your own thoughts, and getting better at managing your thoughts and your feelings. And the crazy part is that's all there is to it, right? Like, that's all we have to do is get better at that. And the best news is that anyone can get better at that. And I know why. I know that's true because we all have a brain, right? And if we have a brain, that means we have a prefrontal cortex. Like if you're watching this video right now, it means you have the hardware, so to speak, and the software to be able to do this already programmed inside of you. And you think you don't, but you're just out of touch with it. That's it. Okay, I'm going to go into that in the next one as well, but we can naturally learn how to reconfigure our thoughts and the way that we respond to our emotions and all those kinds of things. And the best part about this is that it naturally does what Ozempic does. It's like a natural Ozempic. It's a natural way of, and I'm going to explain why. It's a natural way of reducing food noise, and it's permanent because when we use these techniques of strengthening our sort of rational side of our brain, the decision-making side of our brain, when we get better at that, along with a couple other techniques I'll go into in the next point, when we get better at that, the brain will automatically reduce food noise. This is what's so exciting, because we can naturally reduce food noise, and it will be a permanent change because the brain is always wanting to conserve energy. It's how the brain operates. Like, it doesn't want to do a bunch of extra stuff. So it takes a lot of energy for the brain to actually make you crave something. That's a lot of thoughts right there, right? Think of that like thought flurry that occurs when you're craving something. That takes calories, actually. It takes actual physical energy that the body has to get from somewhere in order to make you crave something. So if you start getting better at using that brain to say, no, I'm good, and this isn't willpower, by the way, but you start getting better at training your brain to say, no, thank you. After a while, your brain stops giving you suggestions about what to eat because it knows it's not going to win anyway, and it wants to conserve energy first and foremost. Okay. So scientifically, there's a reason we can actually lower that food noise naturally. Is it as easy as injecting yourself with Ozempic? No, it's not. But it is permanent. And contrary to what Ozempic or Wegovy or any of these semaglutide, GLP-1 activators, whatever, contrary to what they do, which is only while you're on them, and they don't work for everybody, and sometimes they're not as effective. But when you go off them, we're starting to see the studies showing that people's food noise goes up higher than it was before they took the meds. That's scary, because what if your insurance stops and you can't get the drug? Or what if there's a huge shortage like there are, things like this? It's going to be different for everybody, but wouldn't we prefer to do this in a natural way? Okay. Yes, good. Watch movies. So good to see you. Thank you for coming. And I see a bunch of you on Instagram as well. So glad to see you. Okay. So this is the number one thing to realize is that the junk food is actually not the problem, right? It contributes to the problem, but it is not the problem itself. And it's actually kind of fun to realize that you can still have a little bit of junk food as time goes on, and it's not going to affect anything. Health-wise, you want to kind of keep that down. But if you don't want to, it doesn't actually matter. You can still have junk food, and you can still lower your food noise, believe it or not. Okay. All right. Now let's move on to number 2. Sort of a hack to stop overeating is to actually stop counting things. Okay. How many of us, now tell me in the comment section if you've ever been on some type of a diet or a weight loss thing or something that had you count stuff, like it was points in Weight Watchers, or it's calories, right? You're counting your calories, or you have to put all of your stuff into an app and track all of, food logs and food journals and all these kinds of things. How many of us have actually had to do some type of a program like that made us count stuff? Or maybe it was we had a coach and we had to be accountable to them. Like, we had to tell them all the food that we were eating. Let me know in the comment section if you ever tried a weight loss method like this, or a healthy eating method like this, where you had to count stuff, right? What I'm going to tell you, the spoiler here, is that it is also the counting that's actually the problem, right? So it's not the junk food, it's your brain that's the problem. It's all the stuff that we've been doing that's the actual problem. So to stop counting things is actually the solution here. We've been trained to do all the logs and things like that. And the only way we can manage this is if we count everything and we keep a really tight handle on it. But here's why that will inherently fail, because humans are never going to be emotionally stable, for lack of a better term. We're never going to be emotionally stable. We're always going to have ups and downs. That's natural. So sometimes we're going to be angry. Sometimes we're going to be relaxed. We can manage that better, but we're always going to have some automatic waves in our emotions, right? Sometimes we're going to be really like on it and ready to go. And other times we could care less. That is natural. Okay. That is such a natural, normal part of humanity. And that's okay. So what we have to do is we have to be able to find a way to get our goals done while having natural ups and downs. Okay. So how do we do that? Well, first of all, the reason I'm saying stop counting things is because you're never going to be somebody who is happy to count something all the time. Like, there are some, unicorns out there who enjoy being super rigid and strict and things like that, and they succeed on this. But that is such a small minority of folks who do things. And if you are in that minority, you wouldn't be on this call with me. right? Because you would already be doing something that worked for you. But what I'm saying is that it's the actual counting of things that's the issue. So actually having to sit down and count and put stuff in and whatever, because you're ultimately at some point you're going to get sick of doing that and you'll just say, oh, I'm too tired today, I can't do it. So what is the solution for this? To stop counting is to realize, now here's the fun part. This is why this is so good, because your body and your brain already come equipped with the perfect calorie counting mechanism, right? It's called your brain. It's called your appetite regulation system, right? I don't know, appetite something. I had a name for it. Let me see what it was. I actually just looked it up yesterday. Appetite something system. What was it? Appetite control system. Okay, I like to call it the hunger and satiety system, but your body and your brain are already in cahoots. You were born like this. This is, I mean, human bodies just come with this software and this hardware. That's just how it works. The appetite control system. So meaning understanding, when are you hungry? When are you full? When do you need more food? Like your body. So we talk about counting calories and we say, oh, this, I've got to count calories and I have to be so specific about what I'm eating. But your body is already doing that. And it does it every single day for you all the time. It's already doing it. Whether you think your metabolism is broken or not, whether you think your hormones are, out of whack, or you're getting older, or you're going through menopause, or you have thyroid issues, or doesn't matter. Your body's doing it anyway, and you're not even noticing it. So this appetite control system, I call this like hunger and satiety signals, right? You may be out of touch with them and they might feel a little out of whack because of stuff you've done in the past. That's okay. You can certainly still get back in touch with that and just listen. And so what I mean by this is when you feel hungry, you eat, right? And when you don't feel hungry, you stop eating or you don't eat, right? And then all that we have to do is just under eat a little bit every once in a while. And then we lose weight. It sounds very simple, and it actually is. And it's actually very annoyingly simple when you get used to it, because it's annoying because nobody ever told you to do it before, and it works like gangbusters and it will work for the rest of your life. But other people want you to buy a bunch of products and keep doing their point systems because they don't understand about this ability for us to be able to do that, right? To already have this skill within us. They just don't understand that that's available, but it's available to you, everyone, right now. And the more you practice it, the better you get. That's the beauty of it, right? Okay. Any questions, any thoughts so far? Y'all are real quiet, and that's okay. But usually I love to have some interaction. So let me know what's going on. What are you guys thinking? Any of this stuff resonating with you? Let me know in the comment section. Okay. So second point here, stop counting things. Now, the reason I say stop counting things is because it puts an unnatural expectation on yourself. Like, I should be able to count stuff all the time, and that's how I'll be consistent. When you think you're supposed to count stuff all the time and be really good at that for the rest of your life, you're going to be disappointed because you're going to have moments where you just don't feel like counting. And you have moments where you just don't feel like following anything. And you want to be able to just fly by the seat of your pants. That's okay. Let it happen. So it's automatically going to fail. The counting thing is automatically going to fail at some point. And I don't even like the word fail, because it's just, you just decided not to do it anymore. It's not a failure. Your emotions changed and you didn't want to anymore. That's okay. But we got to find something that's actually going to be the opposite of that, which is, and I don't necessarily like to use the word intuitive, but it is intuitive, because I'm not like an intuitive eating teacher, but it's what we're trying to do is get back to that. We actually do have this intuition. The body already knows how much to eat, when to stop, when it should keep going. It knows how to lose weight too. And the way that it loses weight is by lowering food noise and getting rid of that drama. And when we don't have so much drama anymore, the body will automatically lose weight. Okay. So the skill here is to learn how to remove drama, how to stop counting things and make it easy again, the way it was when you were a toddler. Okay. All right. So number 3, We've talked about this, I think, on the last one. Let me see what Susan says here. So last night I felt full, but ate a few more bites and felt really full. Just need to check in at the first full signal or a tiny bit before. Need to practice. Yep. And that's what this is, you guys. It's just practice. And it doesn't mean you're going to get it right away, but you can start getting it. And then the more you mess up, so to speak, it's not actually messing up, it's practicing, right? So the more you practice, it's like swinging to hit a tennis ball. You got to mess that up a little bit to learn how to do it better, right? It doesn't mean anything. There's nothing wrong with you. It just takes some practice. So you just keep learning, where is that in most meals, it's a difference of 10, 20, 30 bites. It's a lot of bites that we could mess up with. Ooh, I had 5 extra bites, or I had, 10 extra bites or whatever. Oh, that was really full. You just want to know. And then you want to sort of, as you're checking in, just go, where do I want to be when I eat? What would I prefer to feel like when I eat? And for so many of us, like me, when I came from binge eating, I didn't understand how to feel comfortable with less than stuffed. I didn't understand that. That took a long time for me to get that. And I still mess that up sometimes, and that's okay. We're all a work in progress. I'm not perfect, but I do know that this is the way to do it, because it's more calm, it's more peaceful, it's not push, push, push. Oh, I got to do this, I got to get this done or whatever, because that stuff is never sustainable long term. We want something that's long term sustainable. Yeah. So on Instagram, Mama Plus Daughter says it's so hard. Yep. So I want to express that it's hard in the beginning, right? It's hard in the beginning just because we've never done it before. But the best part about this kind of stuff is it gets easier and easier as you do it. Can you see how that might be true? Like, just because we haven't listened to our own body for so long, we're out of practice with it. We just don't really know how to do it. But as we do that more, like I said, hitting a tennis racket, the more you hit that tennis racket, the easier it's going to get. The more you'll understand the body and the motions and different challenges in your life and how to overcome those. It's definitely not as easy as sticking yourself with a needle and taking an injection that actually lowers food noise automatically in the short term. But in the long term, this is the best way to go, because there's zero side effects and only upside. It's even better. Like, what's a word for not the opposite of side effects? It's like benefits, right? It has only tons of benefits to do this. And with the clients that I work with, there's always a point in our coaching where they'll say, I cannot believe, first of all, that I never learned this before. And second of all, that I can apply this to everything else in my life too. Right? You're welcome, Mama Plus Daughter. I can apply these skills that we're doing, dealing with my brain and relaxing about food and losing food drama and things like that. This is all applicable to other stuff, right? When you get a table for Weight Watchers points, you can't like use it to pay your bills. It's useless for anything else besides counting being strict with your food. Same with calorie counting, whatever. You can't use it for anything else. It's not useful. But what I teach is how we can apply this to our life and actually have a better life, feel better about our life emotionally. Okay. That's right. So just checking in, what is my intention for this meal? And the cool news about this too, Susan, is that like some meals you can overdo it. It's actually not a big deal, because your appetite control system is going to tell you the next day, if you listen, that you don't need as much food, right? So I was working with a client the other day, and she had way overdone it on one evening because of some stress or whatever. And I was like, okay, let's see what happened there. Like why did that happen or whatever? And we went through all those reasons and we kind of figured it out. So we got some good data there. But then the next day, she texted me in the middle of the day and she says, oh, what I realize is I'm actually not that hungry today. And I just need to listen to that. And I'm like, exactly. Because when you overeat one day, your appetite control system will automatically tell you to eat less the next day. That's how it works for everybody. But we have to just sort of be in tune with it. And we don't have to be like, oh, meditating, like figuring it out. We can just listen. It's a quick, simple check-in. Like Susan says, check in. What's my intention for this meal? If we end up overeating a little bit, cool. Next day is like, oh, let me just undereat a bit. Let me just listen to what my body says. It will automatically do that math for you. Now, your body's automatically going to try to keep you where you are. That's what its first sort of goal is. But once it realizes that it's okay to eat a little bit less because we've practiced that and we've really, like, it sounds silly, but we've actually talked our brain like it's okay. It's okay if we have a little bit of hunger. We can deal with hunger. It starts to calm down a little bit over time. Okay. So Mark says, I just found you. Is this based on Joel Furman's Eat to Live? It is, in a way. So I actually am changing my brand right now. I was always just straight up Eat to Live, nutritarian stuff. And I still love that. And I'm still talking about it. But what I found is that folks, I mean, the book has already been written. It's not a it's not a question about what to eat or how much of it to eat. Dr. Furman has that part on lock. What I found over the years, especially having been a binge eater, even while I was a nutritarian, I found that the problem is not what to eat or how much of it to eat or when to eat or anything like that. The problem is, what do we do when we just don't feel like having the salad, or we just don't feel like stopping it enough, or we just don't feel like being nutritarian when we're out with our friends or whatever. So now I put them together, right? So my brand is now how to stop binge eating or overeating or emotional eating, and then going on to Eat to Live, if you like. Okay. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. And yes, but my information is more based on psychology at this point, because that's really what we need to work on to be able to, I mean, even if we're 100% nutritarian, there's, like, when I was back in like 2016, 2017, it's the idea I was 100% nutritarian, no salt, no oil, no sugar, nothing. And I was still binging, right? So I learned that you can still have issues, even if you're doing 100% nutritarian, which is contrary to what I read in the book and contrary to what I was hoping was true. And so I had to find some different techniques to be able to reduce the overeating, even when I was doing nutritarian. And that's what I talk about now, is how to stop overeating so that you can really eat healthy, and love doing that. Okay. Cheat meals. I mean, I hate the word cheat. I think it's silly to say cheat. There's no cheating. It's just a different food that you've chosen. And we call them joy eats, or some exceptions, planning an exception to your normal protocol or whatever. We don't call them cheat meals. We just eat the food, right? It doesn't matter. And we all get to choose what our protocol looks like. So maybe you don't want junk food in your protocol, and that's fine. We can work towards that. Maybe you want a little bit of that processed food in your life. That's fine. I certainly have some now, and that's okay. It just depends on what you want. But we want to remove the sort of judgment about the foods. Like, if you're going to have them, have them. And that actually brings me to this third point, which I'll get to in a second. So Susan says, so tonight when it feels struggly, it's like, okay, brain, we're eating a bit less today and it's okay. Or just allow the cravings or emotion. Exactly. So always there's going to be a point during that next day where your body says we don't need as much. And then if we're programmed to do it because we've been doing it for so long, we probably are going to have some struggling moments too, even if we have overeaten the day before. So then the best technique here is to start practicing that third part of my system, which is allowing cravings to be there. I don't mean pushing them away with willpower. I mean letting them be there and not respond to them. Not, well, you can respond and be like, look, I see you. It's okay that we have a craving, but we're not going to end up having the food right now. We're not having it, right? It's that decisiveness that allows us to move forward and get rid of that craving completely. So yes, what we do then is we realize, say we're not losing weight, or say we're gaining a bit of weight here and there. We want to get back in practice of allowing cravings. And this technique it's not willpower, it's not push. It's a very different type of technique I talk about. And you guys can feel free to learn more about it in my materials if you want. Right now, you could go and sign up for my school group. If you go to school.com/binge free, this is a free group that you can join, where we talk all about this kind of stuff, and we coach on it and all that kind of stuff. And I have a free course in there called the Quick Start Program that you can take. The third step of the Quick Start Program will explain how this works in more detail. And there's only 3 things in the Quick Start Program, and it really is the only 3 things you need for the rest of your life. And what I mean by that is just, you won't be good at it at first, these 3 things, but the better you get at them, the easier this becomes and the more the drama falls away. Okay. So Susan says, I think of allowing cravings as experiencing a mist. Want to feel it, experience it fully, feel it, not feed it. Going to practice this tonight. I love that. Experiencing a mist, right? Like, it's there, you can feel it, but you don't have to like eat the hot dog, right? Or you don't have to eat the Oreos or whatever. It's different than, say you smell something and then you just sort of like, well, it is kind of like that. Like, let's say you're driving or you're walking somewhere and you smell a barbecue. You can have the experience of desiring that, whatever that food is, you can desire it and realize that it's not going to kill you to desire it and just allow that desire to be there. That's what allowing a craving is it's not saying, oh, I can't have it, I'm not having it. No, that's not it. That's push, that's force. And it's like pushing a beach ball underwater. If you push it underwater, it's going to come up at some point. Instead, what we do is we smell that barbecue and we go, oh, that smells good. Yeah. Oh, that makes me want that. I really wish I could have it. Oh, this is a craving. I see. This feels uncomfortable. It's okay for it to be here. Come on. I can take more, right? I can crave this thing. So that's a very different feeling than pushing, like, go away. I'm just not gonna I'm not gonna think about it, right? Those are two very different things. And it is the allowing those cravings to be there, like being uncomfortable, which is a skill to practice. And as you get better and better at it, that's how the food noise reduces naturally. Okay. Okay. So number 3, we talked about this, I think, in the last video or the one before, but we're going to change our I can'ts to I can, meaning, oh, I can't have that food. I really shouldn't have that food, right? I really shouldn't have whatever food you can think of, whether it's hot dogs or, donuts or whatever it is, all this stuff. You're like very alarmed about cancer causing materials and blah, 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 blah. Like, oh, I can't have that food. And then we end up having it anyway, because we've told ourselves, because we end up breaking or cracking at some point, right? So what we want to do in this case, so similar to these other things, it's the saying I can't that is actually the reason we keep eating it, right? This is different from like having a temporary amount of willpower and not having it. That is not success. Success is changing from, it actually goes like this. It goes, I can't to I can to I don't want it. Okay, the third step here is I actually don't want it. So hot dogs, for instance, I don't want it. We do not want to, here, let me move this thing. We do not want to okay, this is bad English, but we don't want to not eat a food because we're telling ourselves we can't, right? We don't want to be strong because we're like, willpower white knuckling. That doesn't work long term. What we need is long-term stuff, right? So the process, but what we really want is we want to look at that food and go, I actually don't want it. Like, I just don't want hot dogs, or I don't want donuts. Like, I don't like how they make me feel or whatever. And the path to that is from going from I can't to I can. Once we've fully gotten to I can, by erasing all the stuff we've heard in the media about cancer and processed foods and blah, 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 and all these terrible things that it does to your body and whatever, we have to change it to I can totally have it. And the way we're going to do that is by actually planning to have that food and then following through on our plan. Now, what happens is we're only planning what we're already eating. So we're not like saying, oh, I have one hot dog a week, so now I'm going to plan one hot dog every day. That's not how we plan it. We plan it in the way that we're kind of already eating it. So let's say our kryptonite food is a chocolate bar, and we end up having 2 or 3 full chocolate bars a week because we can't not have them, right? And we're saying we shouldn't, so we crave them and everything. Then what we do is we plan to have 2 or 3 a week, because we're already doing it anyway, so there's no further damage, right? Change it to I can. And it is the switching from I can't to I can, which starts to empower you. And as you start thinking, no, I can have chocolate. I can have it because I'm already having it anyway. So I'm just going to plan it now instead of craving it and eating way too much. What happens is when you get to I can, and you truly feel this, not just intellectually, but emotionally, you truly feel like you can have that food, your brain will automatically start going, I don't want that much chocolate. It's too much. Like 1 bar at a time is way too much. Because you're being conscious and you're actually like thinking about how it makes you feel rather than shoving it down your mouth and not thinking about it and pretending like it didn't happen and then being guilty, right? It's the actual act of turning it into an I can, because I already am. I totally can. I'm an adult. I can choose to put in my body whatever I want. When you finally get here intellectually, emotionally, like embodied in your body, it's okay for me to eat whatever that food is that I've been binging on or whatever. You'll automatically go to, do I actually want it? Like, how much do I actually want? And that's where we want to be eating food from, is how much do I actually want? Okay. So Mark says, find a healthy alternative for cravings, like for chips. I use apricot seed kernels, high in B17, the only vitamin made illegal by our government. I actually, there's been a lot of studies that have debunked that. And apricot kernel seeds are actually pretty high in, I think it's, what is it? Something that's bad for you. I can't think of it. I wouldn't advise taking apricot kernel seeds in that way. But what I would advise, and I also wouldn't advise substituting things for cravings. That's a big thing in my program, is that we don't substitute, because when we substitute, we are saying that we're kind of ignoring that craving. So it's like people who say, oh, well, if you're craving something crunchy, just eat celery instead. That's actually not going to fix the craving by substituting, right? So, I mean, I think it's great to eat healthy foods, don't get me wrong, but trying to substitute is just a psychological trick, which doesn't work long-term. For most people, especially folks like me who were a binge eater. When you try to substitute for a little while, it only lasts for a period of time, and then you go right back to your old habits. So what we actually want is to be training the brain to be different about cravings in general. And as I was saying earlier, we want it to actually lower the food noise naturally, so that we don't have cravings like that anymore. And the way that we do that is by doing this kind of stuff. Okay. All right. So any questions, any thoughts here on any of this stuff? I am currently taking on private clients. So if you're interested in learning how to reduce your food noise naturally and become somebody who's just in control of your food and doesn't really have too much drama with food anymore, let me know. I'd love to work with you. We can do this in 4 to 6 months and we'll be done with it forever. It's so fun. So feel free to contact me. My email address, right now we are in the process of finally getting my website to, I have to fix this so it's not a ticker. Getting my website to be up, which is going to be howtostopbingeeating.com. We're going to be talking about binge eating. We're also going to overeating, emotional eating. We're also going to be talking about eat to live still. Okay. So if y'all are interested in eat to live as well, we're still going to talk about that. But we are going to be talking about how to stop binge eating, how to stop overeating, so that we can eat to live more readily and forever. Because this is really what we want, right? Is to be able to eat more vegetables and like that and actually want to do that forever. That's what we'll be working on. Okay. So we will get that website going really, really soon. It's just a lot of red tape because we've been doing a lot of changes lately and all that kind of stuff, but we'll get there soon. If you want to work with me, you can join the school group, school.com/binge free. My free program is in there. You can find me in there. You can also email me if you wanted to. My old website is still up, so you can email me at sherry@nourishyourlifestyle.com, and we can talk about getting you into private coaching or even group coaching if you're interested. And I also am taking clients for a quick program here, lose 7 pounds in 6 weeks. If you want to know more about that, let me know. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. I don't see any other questions. Hold on. Let me, you're welcome, Susan. It's so good to see you. Thank you for being here. No questions or anything like that. So let me know if y'all want to do some private coaching. Otherwise, I will, I know. I mean, this is going to be different for everybody, Mark. So we don't have to get into the back and forth kind of stuff of it, but I also disagree as someone who's lost a bunch of weight, former binge eater, and has actually coached, dozens and dozens of clients and thousands of clients over the years, kind of a thing. So that's okay if you disagree. But I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much to everybody for coming on. And we will be doing some more kind of announcement stuff pretty soon as we get the new podcast running and the new YouTube channel running and all that. Okay. So have a great day. We'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.